Okay, I'll be speaking on getting oil and gas job in Nigeria. Most times, a lot of times, I hear people that ask me, as someone that's discusses career a lot. I get a lot of people that ask me to talk about getting oil and gas jobs in Nigeria and all of that. Despite the fact that oil industry is not as popular as it used to be. It's still one industry that I think anybody that aspires to have a career in should still proceed with. Okay, I was fortunate to work in industry for 14 years before I moved to consulting, and later, deciding to be on my own and start my own businesses. And it's indeed one of the most lucrative industry, one of the most rewarding industry in terms of careers and in terms of even finances. Okay. Um, Generally, the industry is categorized into three. We have upstream, we have midstream, we have downstream. Okay. Um, Downstream essentially deals with the marketing and distribution of products. And in terms of, generally speaking, it's the least lucrative side of the industry because their profit margin is not as high as the guys in the upstream sector, and also because they deal mostly in naira, so they don't have some of the leverages that guys in the other parts of the industry have. Then you also have a situation. You have the midstream, which is some sort of the link between upstream and downstream. That's essentially the part of the industry that deals with processing, infrastructure and all of that. Okay, that's essentially what it is about. And upstream, which is the big growth of the industry, talk about exploration and production and similar activities. So some companies are, they operate in different sides of the industry that they have activities that cover the three streams. Those ones are usually called the integrated oil and gas company because they deal in different aspects of the industry. Okay, we also have regulators that monitor and that make sure that these guys are doing the right thing. Okay. Um, Back to the topic of the day, which is getting a job in the oil and gas industry. Okay. The first thing you probably have to consider is that you have to, study a good course. Studying a good course is very, very important. Is an important way because it's yes. The fact is that some courses are more relevant to the industry than other, right? Study geology, engineering, chemical, petroleum, mechanical, courses like that, because they are core to the industry. Okay, so most graduate training positions, most graduate training roles require them because they are the core of the industry. Okay, they even support functions too, law, HR, accountants, finance guys, and supply chain guys. All these guys are also very important in the industry, and courses you can do to make you competitive for opportunities in those fields are also relevant to the industry. We have accounting, maybe economics, finance, law, and all of these courses are also very relevant. So studying a good course puts that advantage to be able to stand a chance of it. Doesn't mean that um, you know, other courses are also not relevant. So, science courses are also in good demand. Chemistry, physics, geophysics, all of those courses are also relevant. A good way to look at it is you can go and look at the oil, go and look at the previous graduate training vacancies published by oil companies. The likes of you can look at the local ones like NNPC. You can look at Shell, you can look at Chevron, you can look at Seplat and all of these companies. Even to Rwanda, go and look at the last graduate training um, publications, and you see the list of courses that they normally require. So so that gives you an idea of courses that are normally relevant to you. It doesn't mean that at some point, especially if you are coming in as an experienced hire, course may not matter. So somebody that studied Yoruba, but that studied Yoruba in school, but had become an accountant by working in the Big Four, by working in the accounting firm, is applying to another company as an accountant, not as a Yoruba graduate. So in that case, the course may not matter. Okay, so just to have that. And the other point, after studying the good course, generally companies are they tend to, it's an industry that's very big on branding. So you see guys that studied abroad, sometimes I won't say be prioritized, but getting that leverage. So if you could go and get your master's abroad, it could also help you to, it could be some sort of leverage to you doing interviews or something, or when you share your CV. So good cause important. I'm not saying that it is must study abroad, but if you probably have the opportunity to do some masters abroad, that might also add some plus to you in industry. Okay, I'm not saying it's far from being a very critical factor, but it is still what it is. It can help you. Then the other way to look at it, landing a gas job in Nigeria is that you may go and start from consulting firms. Okay, go and start from consulting firms, in the likes of PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, and other firms, especially for those guys who are interested in the support functions of accounting and finance. When I was working in one of the independent oil and gas companies in 2012, to 19, majority of the people in the finance department were from Big Four. I was one of the few people that not come from Big Four. Most of them were guys that were in PwC, KPMG, Deloitte. I'm talking about guys in the finance department, the accountants. So what that tells you is that you can go and start your career in those firms, and they expose you to oil and gas industry, they improve your value, and sometimes they even advertise their roles for, especially for experienced hires, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years experience in those companies. They can tell you that experience in professional services firms or experience in Big Four will be another advantage. So that's another route to you, getting in. So you can probably go and do it. And when you get there, when you get to PwC, when you get to Deloitte, when you go to when you get to all those Big Four, all these other, not just Big Four, other accounting firms too. When you get there, try to move as much as possible to find yourself in the energy practice. In other words, guys that are serving clients from the energy industry. So that gives you that network, understanding, and experience in oil and gas. Guys that were advising PwC, Wando from working KPMG, working Deloitte. You have that kind of industry knowledge that can help you at interviews, and it also helps you to build, apart from understanding the industry, by working in those consulting firms and serving clients in that industry. It also gives you some leverage in terms of network. From time to time, you see yourself working with the CFO, the financial controllers, the accountants, and all of these companies. As well, maybe you are the auditor, or maybe you are the tax consultant. All these things give you that kind of leverage that can make you have an inroad into the company itself. Another thing you probably may consider is that all servicing firms, especially for technical guys, don't say, "Oh, I must start from Shell, I must start from Chevron, I must start from Stepler." All these all servicing firms, they have somehow less strict. They're also very strict to enter, but they are very maybe not as competitive, like the big guys, the E&P guys, especially production guys. So you find yourself working in oil servicing firms as an engineer. That might help you to understand the industry, network within the industry, and if an opportunity comes for you to, anyway, you're already working on that. You're working those firms anyway. So you're already working on that. But to move to exploration and production, starting from oil servicing may help you. It helps you to be able to, because compared to somebody that wants to move to, for example, Shell wants to recruit a chemical engineer, somebody from another servicing firm, let's say Saipem, Baker Hughes, what's their name, Halliburton, and some of even these indigenous oil servicing firms. Okay, those guys may prioritize them. They may prioritize them. It might have an advantage over somebody that is coming from manufacturing. Okay, it's also a chemical engineer, right? But it's coming from maybe his own experiences from a fertilizer plant or or a cement production farm or something. So plant. So starting from those all servicing firms can confer on you an advantage when it's time for you to move to the oil and gas industry at big opportunities. I mean, to seek bigger opportunities. Okay. Then you may also consider you may also consider writing some professional courses. I mean, very important because the industry is big on high level professionalism, and even so, you find yourself um, working. So you probably have masters abroad, like I said earlier. If you when I was working at some point, most of us in finance had ICANN and ACCA. Okay, so if you want to go on in finance, for example, you should consider writing ICANN as soon as possible, as early as possible. Okay, so that you are not at a disadvantage where you're competing with other guys who have all these qualifications. Okay, so that's another thing you should consider: relevant professional qualifications for your industry, your engineer, relevant certifications in project management. All of those things prepare you for an opportunity when the opportunity comes. Okay, okay. So that's another thing to consider. Overall, oil and gas is a very, very good field. I mean, it's a lucrative field. It does well for people, and a lot of other things. You also have to subscribe to job channels as much as possible. Okay. I personally recommend altnigerianjobs.com. I think they're very, very. I think nigerianjobs.com or something. They're very, very good. Search for them, subscribe to them. You see a lot of adverts there. I mean, it's very good for you to just. I think it's my personally most trusted job search platform in Nigeria. So look at it from time to time, subscribe, get their emails, get their newsletters. Go there sometimes to see. So just go to the oil and gas section or something. You can also then don't look beyond Nigeria. I mean, I know a lot of Nigerians that work abroad, that work in companies abroad, and they got the job from Nigeria. I mean, so don't look beyond Nigeria. Look at the Middle East, Qatar, UAE, Saudi. There was a time Saudi Aramco invited my friend that were colleagues to to come and he applied and he was invited. Okay, so look beyond Nigeria too, even though it's probably much easier, because in Nigeria, but look beyond Nigeria. Oil and gas is big in the Middle East, in Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and also even North America. Even though they have stricter policy in terms of all of that. So this is just my advice, but it's not exhaustive. I mean, it's not exhaustive. We have a lot of these resources on gyrosoft.com. You just go to gyrosoft.com, type oil and gas. You see a lot of articles we published in the last 10 years, 15 years, and 12 years rather. And you see a lot of things we've discussed in the past that can help you to to stand a good chance of working in oil and gas industry. And probably I also have to caveat that oil and gas is a very, very competitive field. Some of the smartest folks in the country tend to want to enter the industry. So it's highly competitive, and there are less openings. They don't have much openings. I know that banks that recruit a lot of people, or there are not many of them. So you probably should not be fixated that you must work in oil and gas and get yourself depressed when things are not going fine. No, don't do that. If it comes, fine, but you should also never put your egg in one basket and say, hey, oil and gas or not. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So look for other sectors too. And people move from other sectors, oil and gas too. A good number of the guys in the in the finance department, like I said, came from Big Four, came from accounting firms. Some people came from banks and all of those things. So do not be too fixated on on oil and gas that you want to work there. It's okay, it's fine, but there are a lot of other industries that also do very, very well, and I believe that they can help you to achieve your life ambition. Thank you so much, and it's been nice talking to you guys. Bye bye. So see you for those who have been shortlisted for the NLNG coaching. We're going to have our session tomorrow evening because we're going to announce it in WhatsApp groups already, but you can also subscribe to this channel to get updated, and subscribe to Jairus Hub here YouTube page, and I'm sure that you get updated when we have that specific session on NLNG tomorrow evening by God's. Thank you and have a wonderful Bye bye.